Chapter 21. Why the motorcycle is not the villain of Philippine traffic. Many people get annoyed with motorcycles. They weave between cars. They squeeze into small spaces. Sometimes they appear to come from everywhere. So many people say motorcycles are one of the main causes of traffic. But that is not really the whole story. A motorcycle is very small compared to a car. One car often carries just one person, but takes up a large part of the road. In the same space, several motorcycles can pass. If all the people riding motorcycles today suddenly switched to cars, traffic in Metro Manila would likely become much worse, not better. The real issue is that our roads were designed mostly for cars and buses. But over the past 20 years, the number of motorcycles has grown very fast. People buy them because they are affordable, easy to use, and fast enough to move through crowded streets. Since motorcycles have no clear lanes on many roads, riders look for whatever space they can find. That is why they move between vehicles. This situation is not unique to the Philippines. Many countries went through the same stage of development. China, India, Vietnam, Thailand, and Taiwan all had periods when motorcycles filled the streets. For many people, motorcycles were the first step toward mobility. They were faster than walking, cheaper than a car, and flexible enough to move through busy cities. In the Philippines, motorcycles now do many important jobs. They deliver food, parcels, and medicines. They bring workers to factories and construction sites. They help students reach school and employees reach their workplaces. For many families, a motorcycle is not a luxury. It is a way to earn a living. With a small loan, a person can buy a motorcycle and immediately start earning money through deliveries, transport services, or small businesses. In this sense, motorcycles are also part of what some people call the underground economy. The large network of small activities that keep the country running but are often not fully seen in official statistics. This underground economy includes sari-sari stores, tricycles, small lending systems, street vendors, and many other small businesses. Motorcycles have become one of its most important tools. They help people work, deliver goods, and move through cities where formal transport systems are still limited. Of course, motorcycles must follow rules. Safety and discipline on the road are important. But blaming motorcycles alone for traffic misses the bigger picture. They did not create the traffic problem. They appeared because people needed a way to move and earn a living. And yet there is another way to look at motorcycles. I do not dislike them. They serve an important purpose today. But I also hope that someday motorcycles will slowly begin to disappear. Not because they are bad, but because when that day comes, it will mean something good. It will mean our country has progressed. It will mean our cities have better buses, better trains, safer streets, and a transport system that works for everyone. Until that day comes, motorcycles will continue to do what they have always done. They will keep the country moving. The motorcycle is not a symbol of failure. It is a symbol of a nation still climbing, still moving forward, even if the road ahead is not yet perfect. Chapter 22. Traffic, the daily test of patience. Every day in the Philippines, millions of people begin their journey long before sunrise. Workers leave their homes while the streets are still quiet, hoping to reach their offices before the morning rush becomes overwhelming. Yet despite their efforts, many eventually find themselves trapped in the same familiar scene: long lines of vehicles, crowded buses, motorcycles weaving through traffic, and the slow, exhausting crawl of movement that defines daily life in many cities. Traffic has become one of the most visible features of urban life in the Philippines. For many Filipinos, commuting 2 or even 3 hours a day has become normal. Time that could have been spent with family, resting, or improving one's skills is instead spent inside vehicles moving only a few kilometers at a time. By the time many workers return home in the evening, the day has already drained much of their energy. But traffic is not only a transportation problem. It is also a reflection of how a society grows and organizes itself. Cities like Metro Manila expanded rapidly over the past decades. Businesses, offices, and financial centers became concentrated in certain areas such as Makati, Ortigas, and other commercial districts. As a result, millions of workers travel daily from surrounding communities toward these same centers of employment. This creates an enormous daily movement of people and vehicles toward the same destinations at nearly the same time. Roads that were once sufficient gradually became overwhelmed by the growing number of cars, buses, delivery vehicles, and motorcycles. Infrastructure struggled to keep pace with population growth and economic activity. Yet what is remarkable about Filipinos is how patiently they endure these conditions. Drivers rarely abandon their journey in anger. Workers continue to wake up early and return home late. Families adjust their schedules around traffic patterns. Life continues despite the daily inconvenience. This patience reflects a deeper Filipino trait, the ability to endure hardship while maintaining hope. Filipinos have learned through generations that life does not always move easily. Typhoons come, floods rise, and economic struggles appear. In many ways, traffic has simply become another challenge that people quietly accept as part of daily life. But endurance alone cannot solve a structural problem. Traffic congestion requires thoughtful planning, efficient transportation systems, and better coordination between urban development and mobility. When cities grow faster than their transportation networks, congestion becomes inevitable. Improving traffic is not simply about building more roads. It is about creating systems that allow large numbers of people to move efficiently without requiring every individual to depend on a private vehicle. Reliable public transportation, coordinated urban planning, and disciplined traffic management can significantly improve mobility in growing cities. When transportation improves, the benefits are felt far beyond the roads themselves. Workers gain more time with their families. Businesses become more productive. Daily life becomes less stressful and more balanced. Traffic may appear to be only a daily inconvenience, but in reality it reflects something deeper: the relationship between a nation's growth and its ability to plan for the future. Perhaps because of my background as an engineer, traffic gradually became one of the issues I began to study more carefully. Over time, I gathered my observations and reflections into a small book where I explored possible ways of improving urban mobility. I shared that book freely with people whom I believed might have the opportunity to move ideas forward. What happens next is no longer for me to decide. Like many efforts in life, I simply leave the outcome to the Lord, grateful that in my own small way I was able to offer what little contribution I could. Chapter 23. Flooding, Water, and the Future. Water has always played an important role in the life of the Philippines. The country is surrounded by seas, crossed by rivers, and visited each year by strong rains brought by the monsoon and typhoons. In many ways, water is one of the nation's greatest natural blessings. Yet this blessing sometimes becomes a source of hardship. Every year, floods affect communities across the country. Homes are damaged, roads become impassable, and daily life is disrupted. Families clean their homes after the waters recede, repair what they can, and slowly begin again. For many Filipinos, this cycle has become almost familiar. Floods come, people endure them, and life continues. This ability to recover reflects one of the strongest qualities of the Filipino character: resilience. Even after serious hardship, communities rebuild with remarkable determination. But resilience alone should not be the only response to flooding. Floods are not always simply the result of nature. In many cases, they also reveal how cities grow and how water is managed. When urban areas expand rapidly without proper drainage systems, waterways become blocked and natural floodplains disappear. Water that once flowed freely through rivers and open land becomes trapped in crowded neighborhoods and streets. At the same time, another challenge quietly appears. While some communities struggle with floods during the rainy season, others experience water shortages during the dry months. Reservoir levels fall, water pressure drops, and families begin to conserve every drop. This creates a puzzling contradiction. During certain months, the country has too much water. During other months, it does not seem to have enough. In reality, the challenge is often not the amount of water, but the way it is managed. Water that causes flooding during storms could also become a valuable resource when properly stored, controlled, and distributed. The same rain that damages homes today could help secure water supply for the future. Managing water wisely requires long-term planning and careful coordination between engineering, environmental protection, and urban development. Countries that have faced similar challenges have learned to treat water not as an enemy, but as a resource that must be guided and controlled. The Philippines, blessed with abundant rainfall, has the opportunity to do the same. Perhaps because of my background as an engineer, I gradually developed a deep interest in the subjects of flooding and water supply. Over many years, I studied how water systems function and how they might be improved in ways that would benefit both cities and communities. Eventually, I gathered these reflections into a small book and shared it freely with individuals and institutions whom I believed might have the ability to move ideas forward. Like my earlier efforts regarding traffic, these thoughts were not offered as final answers. They were simply reflections born from many years of observation and concern for the country. Whether such ideas will ever bear fruit is something I can no longer control. In the end, like many efforts in life, I entrust the outcome to the Lord. What matters most is that each person contributes in whatever way he can toward building a better future.